Dikk Dasterddlyy. Now, besides just being a photographer, I think I don't even know if I would call myself just a photographer, because I'm an artist. And what I try to do is, no matter what art I dabble in, whether it's photography, whether it's video, whether it's drawing, whether it's being creative, I kind of put it together. So I kind of look at myself more than a photographer when I'm shooting, and then I kind of combine, you know, elements that not your regular photographer would incorporate, because I'm an artist at that. So sometimes I can look at things with three different hats on, and I appreciate that. That's what keeps me going. I don't have to try hard not to you know, duplicate anyone's style, being the artist I am. So it's just natural, it kind of flows for me. And then, like I said, I got other photographer friends I build with, we sharpen each other. So Dikk Dasterddlyy, you might not know me now, but you might see some of my work, you might have seen some of my influences. And being from South Jersey, all I can say is I'm on a rise, and we're on a rise. Alright, now if there is no money involved, then it's pretty much each side have to meet halfway equal parts. And you know, it's, you know, some people think the model does more, some people think the photographer does more. Now, I could be biased because I'm a photographer, but when you work and you have a set, the model shows up, the photographer works, but when that whole set is done, the model goes home, the photographer still has work to do. Still has a lot of work to do. But before we get there, it has to be equal parts. So, meaning, you have to, and before you even start, you need to come, you know, it's almost like you writing a prenup, or you're writing a contract of what each side is going to give before it even starts. So, like I said, it has to be even. The model, if she's bringing home wardrobe and the photographer is bringing his own gear and lights, that's dead even trade. If the model's coming and the model, you know, just shows up, the photographer's coming, he has his equipment, he has the wardrobe, he even bought some wardrobe, and obviously that's a little more one-sided. Now, with that being said, it's still no money involved, so the work still has to get done, but you have to discuss beforehand and make sure that when you guys leave, how many pictures you're gonna get, how many pictures I'm gonna work on, because again, the photographer has to do a lot of work, and editing is not easy. Editing, you know, you can have the best, you know, makeup person in the world, but it's still some things that need to be edited. So the photographer has way more work to do. So with that being said, I think it can always come together long as each side knows what they're gonna do beforehand. When they just link up and say, all right, I'm a model, let's meet, you know, say we meet on Instagram, let's, you know, meet up and shoot. And then the next thing you know, the model doesn't see pictures, or the photographer's not happy with the work. It was just too soon. The only way a no money agreement would work is if both sides sit down, probably build chemistry beforehand, and go into, before you even start clicking, go into that set of what's expected on both sides. So that way, if you say, all right, maybe I'm bringing this to the table, but you only give me this amount of pictures, and the photographer stood at that, you don't enter the agreement. Or if the photographer says, you know what, I provided the clothes and you kind of, you know, didn't really show up, you know, you might not be entitled. So that's the main, you know, it's always going to be a teeter-totter on both sides. So one side's, you know, going to always claim they're the winner. The photographer side's probably always going to claim they're the winner. But that's a tricky situation, and it can be done, because a lot of my shoots have been done that way. And till this day, I can tell you, if I shot maybe 50 models on portraits, my approval rating is 50 plus. No arguments, no disagreements about pictures, no disagreements about editings, because like I said, before we start, it's always agreed on what side, what to expect, and know what to expect. And I think people get in trouble when they don't work that part out in the first place. And the advice I would give to urban, hood, anybody in that demographic, of course not to professionals, not to experienced people, because you know we've been through it, we lived it, is to not be, number one, it's going to be a couple things, but number one is to not be stereotypical, which means do not do, and of course, every new photographer, every new model is going to want to do the same poses that maybe they've seen that's, you know, played out 10 years later. Photographers going to want to do the same shots. So don't be stereotypical, and what I mean by that is the little Kim pose. Like, I'm sure every fresh model is probably going to want to get down and drop and do the little Kim pose. It's done. It's not going to help you, and it's really not going to help the photographer. And for the photographer who wants to shoot that shot, or who wants to find a model who's pretty in the face with a nice body, and the first thing they want to do is turn around and get that ass shot. Those shots are also too common, too stereotypical for any photographer. So, two, what you want to do is you want to challenge, you as the model, you want to challenge your photographer, you want to challenge your model. A, not to do those things. Two, to be even more creative. And the biggest advice, again, don't just meet up, photographer, model, say, hey, I like to shoot, you like to shoot, meet up and shoot. Before y'all, you know, even get there, you should have a discussion. You should sit down and chat, and go get some coffee, go get a drink, you know, meet up somewhere, get a, you know, at a Starbucks or at a wherever. Just meet up and talk. See, get your visions out, you get your visions out, and see if your visions come together. If your visions come together during that time and the chemistry feels right, it's good. If something don't feel right at any point, he's, you know, not seeing your vision, or he wants you to do this, or he wants to push this on you, or vice versa, she wants to, you know, do something you don't feel comfortable doing, it's not worth it. And that's how too many photographers, newbies, they jump out, they jump and do anything. And like I said, once them pictures go out there, you know, some can recoup, some can't. So advice to these new urban photographers, just don't do, you know, here, take your shirt off, hold your titties. That's just played out. And you'd be tempted to do it because A, you're new to photography and you think that's good, but find something more creative to do. If you're gonna do that, be more creative. And that's the biggest advice I can give. And that is going to help you propel much better than, you know, starting way down at the ladder doing steps you shouldn't do. You should skip these steps that we've done and played out, and you know, you start at a better level, and you know, that's gonna help your game, and that goes to both sides. Alright y'all, so this is Dikk Dasterddlyy, and I'm hanging out, I'm on Reckless Life, and we just came to give you some photography tips. And I'm, like I said, I'm just keeping the real talk, because everybody ain't gonna share these tips, so I'm just giving them to you as real as I can. I'm trying to be as truthful and honest as I can, because lying ain't gonna get you nowhere. And like I said, it's better that you hear it, the realness that gets you started on your path, and then starting backwards. So